Ladies and gents, welcome to War Thunder with Mags, and the second video in my Iwo Jima event. Now, this time we're playing the US forces, and it is the F4U-1c, the quad cannon Corsair. Starting off from the carriers, we've got to begin our climb and get ready to get into battle. Now, I've said in a couple of my videos recently, sometimes you've got to try and find the advantage in an aircraft even if you can't see it. Even if it's something that's not apparent. In this event, I think it's really showed in a lot of the battles. It took me 19 attempts to get this battle, and of those 19 attempts, only 5 of them were victories, including this one. And 4 of them were just B-24s bombing out the Japanese base. The reason why is because nobody would climb. Corsairs operate better at altitude, and everyone just YOLO'd through the centre of the map at about 8,000 feet and got their asses handed to them by the Japanese. Now, the Japanese fighters will outclimb the American forces in this, and as a general rule, most of the American fighters do climb slow. They're designed to engage in combat once they're already at altitude, not climbing combat. They're supposed to start with the advantage in the first place. So, if they outclimb you, how do you get to altitude? Well, this is how I do it. As soon as I turned off the carrier, I immediately made a 90-degree turn to the fleet and started climbing under full WEP. Now, at these altitudes, you get about 3 minutes of WEP. You'll hit about 7,000 feet before the WEP burns out. Now, once you get above 14,000 feet, you can run the WEP indefinitely in the Corsair. The air is cold enough there, it works fine. It never overheats. Also, at 14,000 feet, you're getting close to the optimal performance level, so even without WEP, the aircraft just accelerates faster, it handles better, it performs better. Everything about the aircraft is better once you get it there. The catch is, they're going to beat you there first. So, don't climb into combat. As you can see here, count the Corsairs flying at 8,000 feet under full WEP. By the time they hit that battleground, they're going to have overheated oil, they're going to have no altitude, and they're going to be under the enemy fighters. Those guys have just handed their lives to the Japanese pilots in this match. I've just hit 7,000 feet, or just under 7,000 feet. I'm making my first turn, and I immediately turn 180 degrees and fly back towards the initial start marker, still climbing. In a second here, my oil will overheat, and you'll notice I'll flick the WEP off. I'll let it cool down, and then I'll flick it back on, and I'll continue doing this while I'm completing this climb. Now, it doesn't take much to win. Well, I'll go back a step here. As I said in the first video, think about combat in 3 levels. The first level of combat, low-level combat, is between sea level and 8,000 feet. Second level is 8,000 to 15,000 feet, and top level is 15,000 feet and above. To win a match or win combat in real life, you had to win the top levels and go down, because if you're fighting from the lower levels up, the enemy above you always has the advantage. It doesn't take much in War Thunder to be able to turn a match around. All the matches that I lost, that I just listed out of the 19 times it took me to get this video, on 17 of those I was the last fighter left alive, and that was because by the time I got to my altitude and was ready to engage in, which only took about 10 minutes or a bit less, the entire team had dove, dropped to 8,000 feet, flown straight into the enemy base and got cut in half. But it doesn't take, you don't have to have the whole team climb for altitude. There does need to be somebody in the mid-level. In this case, it only took 2 of us. There's me here, and over the other side of the map you'll see another F4U that appears to be climbing far out to the opposite side as well. He was up there with me, and the 2 of us basically cleared the single fighter that wound up at the top deck on this map, and then we worked our way down. Other thing to mention, why am I climbing in the directions that I'm climbing? Well, I'll spin the camera here a second and you'll see that I'm actually climbing with the sun to my back. I chose 90 degrees off the carrier into the sun, and then turn 90 degrees away from the sun, so I'm climbing under a blur effect, as you can see there. I was trying to cut visibility. I needed to get the altitude before the Japanese fighters were able to detect me. If they saw me while I was climbing and realised I was trying to get to the top deck, they would come at me like wild dogs. They want me eliminated. They want all their Corsairs down on the ground where they can play with them as they like. They don't want one up top that can actually give them a challenge. So I was trying to make myself as invisible as I possibly could. Now me and the Corsair on the other side of this match at the moment. There he is, still climbing over there. Him and me are basically the two furthest back fighters in this group. Neither of us are in a rush to get into battle. This is an historical battle. We have over an hour of combat time and we're 6 minutes in. What's the rush? First fighters have already been detected, and we'll start watching them fall like flies here in a moment. We lose almost the entire team. Now tactically here I'm spinning the camera around a lot. This cloud cover also provides cover, stealthy cover to the Japanese forces, and I'm trying to look for dots in the white. I'm worried that a zero has gotten closer than I'm expecting it to be. It'll pop out and light me up and then the game's over. I can't be detected until I'm at altitude. On other maps you can do the same thing by climbing in the opposite direction of the fight. In historical, climbing up the back wall of your base to get altitude in your American fighters till you get that altitude advantage. Now as you see here, I'm up 15,000 feet, the WEP's on, and I am not overheating. And you'll see here my aircraft performance has gone up, the speed that I'm climbing has gone up, my acceleration has gone up, my floating top speed has gone from 250 to 350 kilometers an hour, and I'm now going faster than all the fighters that are beneath me. I'm pulling down every single one of them. I'm now in my performance band. I'm in the point where the Corsair operates most efficiently, gets its best speed, and this is where it was built to fight. Now I'm stalking Japanese. I've made the final turn in towards the islands, and I'm now looking for zeros. Specifically, I'm after the ones at high altitude. Now, I wasn't paying enough attention. You would have seen the red one appear above me off there to the left. I didn't. I never noticed him flick on my screen when I was actually playing this match. So I hadn't flown enough by the time I turned into battle. I needed to be another 5,000 feet up. Didn't notice him, and it almost killed me. But as I said, it doesn't take your whole team at altitude to win. That would obviously be the preference. It only takes one or two others to come up. So spin the camera around. I've spotted him now. He's close. I've done an evasive roll. I'm going to drop a little bit of altitude to get my airspeed up. I want to get up to about 500. What am I going to do? Well, there's another Corsair just up here that climbed with me. First time that somebody had in any of these matches. This was the first time anybody got up above 15,000 feet with me on any match that I played today. And he's noticed that I'm there. There is an F6F up here as well, but he is far, far, far out of battle. Now he's noticed the fighter coming in. I'm shooting him a message and basically saying, look mate, I'm bringing him to you. He's all yours. I'm going to fly straight underneath him. That zero has zoned out on me. He wants me. And he's going to run straight into the Corsair. I've got to give this F4U pilot that was up here with me the best compliment I can give him as an Australian. Mate, you were a fucking legend. You really were. Straight through, takes the A6M3 out. He immediately goes through. He obviously took a hit because he calls out RTB here in a second, but it doesn't matter. That was their one high altitude interceptor. The rest of them had dove down on the fighters at lower levels. So we now have the altitude advantage. The F6F will hopefully soon join us in combat. We have two F4Us sitting up here. All the energy. Now we can finish this off. So now I'm picking out the targets below me. Time to clean house. As you can see, we've got two B-24s and a TBF that are kicking the crap out of ground targets over their base. But I'm not letting them get the win this time. So, starting my dive down to the second level of combat. Everybody here at this stage in time is actually pushed down to the first because, well, basically the rest of the fighters in our team YOLO'd straight in at about 8,000 feet, and the zeros couldn't help themselves. They all dove down on top of them. Now it's the Americans' turn to do the diving, and the Corsair is coming in. Now this thing dives like a boss. You can see I've pulled the throttles right back, I've got the combat flaps in, and I'm still accelerating. I get my angles wrong on the first pass, but I have so much airspeed up, it doesn't matter. I put it up, throw the WEP straight on. The the high altitude air has cooled my engine at this stage in time. I've got a solid 3 minutes of WEP at combat, even at this altitude now. So party is on. Zero was trying to take out a lid, he got caught at low energy and is trying to go low to get his speed back up, but I'm not having any of that shit. I've been having a lot of bad battles. That's my first kill. Next, A6M3. He's going to come at me. He obviously thought better of a nose-to-nose, seeing me kill his mate, because he tries to bank off and get me into a turn fight. Now, I'm not silly enough to try and fully turn with an A6M3. But why it's at low energy and going to overturn and not go evasive enough, I'll definitely give it a crack. So I put one into his tail on the pass. Now that obviously hurt. You can see he's wallowing around a lot on the turn. He turns back the other way. I pre-roll. Second kill. Now the other Corsair, the A6M5 that was behind us and low, he decided to clean that up on the way home, and he took that extra kill. That got him the top slot. Now I'm looking around. They have one pilot left alive. It's the last one, and I have no idea what it's in. I haven't seen the pilot the entire game. I have no idea what he's flying. I have no idea what he's doing. And see one of the kamikaze planes that you're supposed to eliminate still flying around there, and I was contemplating going over there and shooting it, because I was thinking he's probably flying around our carriers waiting for RTBs, and I better go back there and help the F4U, because these guys have the base under control. I'm just checking to make sure nothing's on the ground. There's nothing that I'm missing. Yep, I'll go get that kamikaze plane and then go for the next target. Still waiting. There's nothing else. He's the last one up. He's not showing himself anywhere. Where the hell are you? And boom, there he is. Turns out he was in a bomber. And he was flying off the side trying not to be noticed. Ah. This one's mine. My spot, my kill. 19 matches and I've earned this. So no need to rush, WEP off. I've overheated the oil again because I was over-wepping, but it doesn't matter. A bomber's not going to be getting away from me. I'll just keep the throttle at 100%, glide the altitude down. Rip up his left-hand side on the first pass. That's oil and coolant leaks from the left-hand side of the plane, as well as rudder damage. Go around from the right. This time aim for the engines, pull up the back, ignite the left-hand side engine on the way past, and watch the fireball go down. A very pretty last kill, not the most exciting dogfight kill, but that was the final kill, the final blow. Not a bad game, but as you can see, it doesn't take a huge number of fighters to take that top altitude, to spend the time getting up there, to be able to turn a battle that all the American forces, honestly, were getting their ass kicked the whole way through this event. It only took 2. Unfortunately, it was usually only me up there. And the results, well, you guys played the event too. I'm sure you know what it was like for US forces. It was not pleasant. So that's the battle. Let's check out the results. So we came in at second place for the team. Slightly less points than first, but it was a pretty close, tight fight. And second place, as good as first. It was a good fight. Nice to see everything happen correctly for once. Our awards were Final Blow, Fighter and Bulletproof, 3 kills total, and 88,350 Silver Lions, 48,730 XP. Not a bad result, 15 minutes work. As you can see from this, It doesn't take a huge amount of fighters up top to be able to secure that top level, and it is easy enough to climb. It does require a little bit of wet management so you don't burn out your level, but providing you're not climbing into combat, you can get that altitude up there and take advantage of the capabilities of the aircraft. I was disappointing during the event. I was trying to explain to people during the event that this is how you do it and this is the easiest way to do it. After a while, I honestly gave up. The amount of players that simply told me that I had no idea what I was talking about just got a touch much, so I let them enjoy their deaths, basically. Anyways, this concludes my 2 Iwo Jima event videos. I will probably be doing a lot more events in the future as they pop up. I did have a lot of fun playing through this. It was nice to be playing something that was actually historically based, something that actually occurred in real life with the planes that participated in the battle. Anyways, I'm going to end this one here. If you like this video, please click the like button. Please subscribe if you want to see more. Fly smart, fly safe, and I'll catch you in the skies.